Welcome to Art Schools Network No More webinar series. Today in episode 2 of our Media Arts Standards trilogy, we're diving in deep and taking a closer look at the Media Arts Standards. I'm Christy Calloway, your webinar host and Executive Director of Art Schools Network. We're a national consortium dedicated to serving the leaders of art schools. Our membership is all over the United States and around the world. But today I have the pleasure to introduce to you Corey Wilkerson. She is the project manager for CDAE, the State Education Agency Directors of Arts Education. So to clarify that, every state has a Department of Ed, and in every Department of Ed there's an Art Education Associate. Corey Wilkerson works closely with all of them so that we have our current National Core Art Standards. Corey, welcome to today's webinar, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and where we're going.
Well, thank you so much, Christy. As you said, I am the project manager for the State Education Agency Directors of Arts Education, and I was fortunate enough to serve on the National Coalition for Core Art Standards during the writing of the standards, and also am a member of the NCAS Media Arts Leadership Committee. So I'm very interested in media arts standards, and I'm so happy for this opportunity to tell you about them today. Perhaps start with a little bit of background on the standards. The National Core Art Standards are standards for the 21st century, and anyone who reads them tells us that they clearly see 21st century skills embedded within them. We think they bring a world of expressive and purposeful ideas to dance, music, theater, visual arts, and media arts. And we also love their interactive home. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that again. So for those of you who attended our first webinar, you'll hear a little bit of repeat information. And then we're going to dive deep into media arts. I guess let's start with when the Media Arts Standards were published. They were published on June 4th, 2014. And they were written by a group of writers and also including some reviewers. For the first time, they include a fifth artistic discipline of media arts, which reflects a broadened definition of arts making that includes contemporary forms, animation, film, gaming, interactive computer-based art making. Christy, thanks so much for having that slide up there. I love this one because it shows our 6,000 reviewers and where they came from. They were mostly teachers, but also community members, teaching artists, even some volunteers, folks who labeled themselves, I'm an arts volunteer and I want to review these standards. And that review was given directly to our writing teams. You can see on the map how they were spread across the country. 30 of our 50 states were represented.
That's wonderful.
Let's go on and show the organizations. Thanks so much, Christy. They're the organizations that sponsored and funded this work. And you can see it represents a truly broad spectrum of the disciplines of dance, media arts, music, theater, and visual arts, and also the College Board, the State Education Agency Directors of Arts Education, my organization, and Young Audiences Arts for Learning. I should note, since there's no professional organization for media arts teachers yet, media arts educators are represented by the National Coalition Committee. However, we are trying to start a community, so if you'd move on to the next slide, Christy. We're encouraging anyone who's a media arts educator to come and join us at www.mediaartseducation.org. We're trying to form a community of practitioners there to disseminate information specific to the media arts discipline. So let's review what a standard is. It may be very familiar to most of you, and certainly those of you who were on our first webinar also heard a little bit about what a standard is, but I find it helpful to begin with that. A standard, according to my webinar search, or my search, on Google, is a level of attainment, an idea or thing used as a measure, a document that provides guidelines, or a directional device and roadmap. And that's my personal favorite.
That's my favorite
too. Yeah, you like that one too? It has so much meaning to me as a teacher myself to think of these as a communication form and as a roadmap. Let's look at our roadmap, or our shape of the standards. So the standards are different from 1994 in that they're a process-based model. By that we mean that art making has been broken down into 4 artistic processes: creating, performing, presenting, producing, responding, and connecting. There's also 11 core anchor standards. So the arts, all 5 of them share the artistic processes and these anchor standards that define in general terms what artistic literacy looks like. And then each discipline wrote specific performance standards pre-K through 12. The standards are also supported with some instructional resources, including enduring understandings, essential questions, model cornerstone assessments, and process components. So let's look at what that looks like. Christy, can you go on? Perfect. This is what a standard looks like. It's actually a package of materials, a group of standards, and some helpful tools. And this particular one is a media arts standards, and if you click, you'll notice that this is in the artistic process of creating. So if you could hit that clicker, Christy, there you go.
Yes.
This example is from a series of creating standards. Although the standards are organized under 4 artistic processes in a particular order on a page, I do want to remind everybody, in the classroom, we're probably teaching all of them at the same time. These are really nonlinear, interrelated, and recursive. But to track them on a page, we had to come up with an order. These artistic processes, in the next slide, show you that it's really just the way the brain and body make art. They define the link between art making and the learner. They're the cognitive and physical actions by which art making and art learning are realized. And the anchor standards, well, they're easy to define too. Anchor standards describe the general knowledge and skill that teachers expect students to demonstrate throughout their education in the arts. Let's kind of look at the anchor standards. Here they are. And the sample we're looking at in media arts, click to hit that arrow, Crispy, is anchor standard number 1. It's a creating anchor, and it's, in broad terms, defined as generating and conceptualizing artistic ideas and work. Let's look a little deeper. We're going back to what a standard looks like. Perfect. Each discipline offered some organizing words to support instruction. They're not a standard themselves, but they're verbs to help you remember. Called process components, these operationalize the standards by breaking down each artistic process into some steps. So this would be media arts step 1, conceiving of ideas. These process components can be defined too. We define them as the actions that artist learners do to complete a task in each grade-by-grade sequence. And there you can see the media arts process components. So for the artistic process of creating, we think that media arts artists and learners conceive, develop, and construct. For producing, we think they integrate, practice, and present. For responding, we think they perceive, interpret, and evaluate. And for connecting, we think they synthesize and relate. Let's keep on moving.
These are wonderful.
I'm so glad you like them. I am a standards enthusiast.
I just love how simple.
I'm so excited when you are too.
They're so organized so simply, and they fall across so evenly, the arts, and I like that they're not hierarchical, and yet they are foundational. I love this exploration with you. Thank you.
That's fabulous input, Christy. That really tells me that they can speak to educators. Thank you. Now you can see in our circles piece here, this is another instructional support, enduring understandings and essential questions. So how do you teach these standards in our classroom? How do you get a hold on them, and how do you tell that to your students? The enduring understanding is kind of that big idea, that standard in a nutshell that you can post on the board and you can connect with for years and years. And the essential question is an example of how to intrigue students. It's a prompt you can use with your older students or modify for your younger students. Enduring understandings can be defined as well.
Does
you want to hit the slide? Yes.
Yeah. This is great, though, because it's one page, and it goes from beginning to high school advance, but it's all on one page.
And you can also print out all of the standards on 11 by 17 pages if you want on our website.
That's fabulous. So each one has the 11 anchors, and then there's like 3 under each. So we're looking at like 33. Or am I off target here?
I don't believe I've counted, but essentially for media arts, each of the 11 anchors breaks down into 3 artistic processes, and each of those 3 artistic processes then, each of the 11 anchors breaks down into 3 process components per artistic process, and then that's expressed K through 12. So that would come to 3, 6, 9, and 11 sets of standards expressed K through 12. Yeah.
So that was where Yeah, I could have asked that question on that slide.
Oh, no problem. Your asking questions is so helpful to me to know what, because I really hear your teacher's perspective in that, and it's really helpful to me to know what's important to teachers who are listening. So the big ideas and enduring understandings. Easily defined enduring understandings are big ideas or important understandings, and essential questions model that inquiry method of teaching. So let's drill down a little further. This is the actual standards themselves for media arts. As you pointed out, one per process component for the artistic processes, K through 12. Very simple, easy to use. It really tells us what should students know and do if they're in kindergarten. What should they know and do about generating and conceptualizing artistic ideas and work? What about 3rd grade? What about 5th grade? 8th grade? High school. And you'll notice at high school, there are 3 levels: proficient, accomplished, or advanced. Because we know that in high school, students are not in grades. You can have a high school classroom that has a 9th grader, a 10th grader, 11th grader, or a 12th grader.
Right.
We define those grade-by-grade performance standards as well, if you want to turn the page. And we define them as performance standards, and I will share with you that they're pre-K through 8, and then as we just talked about, 3 levels of high school. Proficient would be that student that's maybe taking 1 or 2 courses in high school. It's what we hope for all students, to be proficient in all art forms. Accomplished, the student that really says, I love the art form of media arts and I want to take every course I can get my hands on. And advanced, that's a student that's doing college level work. I also said to you way back in the beginning that we provide some models of assessment for teachers. We call them model cornerstone assessments, and they're just an example. We hope that teachers will grab them, take them, steal them, riff off them, and make them their own. And all of this can be found at www.nationalartsstandards.org. So unlike the 1994 standards, there are no books of standards. You can't find one, buy one, but you can make your own by going to this website and printing out the standards in the way that you'd like to see them best. I should take a minute to address why National Core Art Standards. Because the standards were a national effort, state-led and teacher-driven, educators across our nation, we named them national. And why core? Simply to remind us that the arts are core, and they've even been defined as core in the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and also under Title IV. So what's going to happen next? Well, states are going to have to decide if they want to adopt or adapt the standards. The voluntary National Core Art Standards are voluntary, and each state will decide if they want to make it policy. They can adopt, adapt, or even ignore them. Even so, turn the page, Christy. We're hoping that these are going to be a fabulous resource for teachers to help target goals for student learning. And we invite you to spread the word by coming to our website, sharing the website with as many people as you can, www.nationalartsstandards.org. And can I put in one last shameless commercial, Christy? If you're a media arts teacher, join the media arts community, www.mediaartseducation.org. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So Christy, that's all I have to tell you about the Media Arts Standards for now. I know it was just a taste, but thank you again for having me, and I wish you luck in your conference in Denver.